Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the all-new Rossignol Slashimi. That's right, the board that replaces the sashimi. This board features Rossignol's AmpTech Elite camber profile, so you get 15% rocker in the nose, 80% camber through the insert pack, and a 5% rocker in the tail. This is going to give you all the load, pop, snap, and drive of traditional camber right underfoot, but you got that ease of entry in and out of turns from that rocker, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 152, 155, 158, and 161. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a day that was sunny, bluebird, 5 inches of fresh snow with up to a foot in the wind-loaded areas. There was some chop chunder, perfect corduroy. It was a really good day to ride a POW board, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. So overall, this board feels softer than the sashimi that it replaces. You've got that rocker in the nose, and it's a directional flex, so that's where most of the flex is. Then it's stiffer through the midsection. This might actually be the stiffest portion of the board. The tail feels slightly stiffer, but there's just not a lot to go with, so I think that that's really what it is. Torsionally, you can twist this board, it rebounds, it's there. The overall flex on it is slightly past middle of the road. When it comes to stability, you're gonna get some chatter and flap in the nose, and that will reverberate under the front foot. You're not gonna feel it so much. It does a good job of dissipating that, but that midsection, if you slam a frozen death boulder or something underneath fresh POW, you get jarred. You feel everything. It is very lively, and it resonates right up through the bindings, through your boots, into your knees, your hips, and your lower back. Like, you get worked. The AmpTech Elite camber profile is easy to engage and roll back on the tail and get it to snap if you're flat basing. That's when those carbon strips in there will actually activate and you notice that pop. But if you're on edge and you're just trying to pop off of it, it's a little bit lacking. You kind of fold that rocker in the tail and it doesn't give you that rebound that you would expect. So you want to stay more flat based when you pop. If you're trying to come off your edge like you're gonna spin or something, it's just little cattywampus, little underperforming. Do you like this video? Why don't you click like? While you're down there, why don't you click subscribe, then click the bell. I know it's a lot of clicking, but that's how you get notified whenever we put out a new video for you. With the nose having more rocker and you've got that longer up kick in there, it's easy to leverage your weight out and you can overpower this board. It's softer than you'd think. You can really overflex it. So you want to tone it down a little bit, especially on POW butters. It was weird how many times I was overflexing this and finding myself dropping my hand to catch myself when I was doing like a POW butter 360 or even just trying to lock in a 180. The tail is a little bit stiffer and it's shorter. It's easier to do a wheelie on this and sit outside the insert pack right back here, and you don't have to worry about it. Also, one thing I want to note is there's an orca on the tail of this board. Like it has nothing to do with buttering, but there's an orca on the tail. So if you overpower this board, it will rebound and try to get itself back flat base, which is nice because you can kind of correct. That happened to me probably about 5-6 times. But if you're like not paying attention, you're probably gonna eat shit when that happens. So if you know how to butter, you shouldn't have a problem with this, and it's fun. Just understand you can overflex it. So compared to the sashimi that this board replaces, you sacrifice some of the edge hold and some of the power in the carve. This doesn't carve as well, in my opinion. The tail's just a little too soft. So if you really load up the camber section and you're pushing back off the tail to try to root the carve, you can overflex it and it just doesn't grip the way that you would expect. It needs more power in the tail. It neither needs the carbon to be pushed out a little further or it needs to be wider, and that would rectify the problem. Yes, it's nimble edge to edge. There's a good power transmission when you're on a groomer with it, but like I said, you can overpower that tail. It's those medium mellow carves or short tight quick carves that are fine. It's the deep hard ones that you could do those on the sashimi and you could go in with a lot of power and then slash it out. This more or less wants to go in more mellow and then slash. So if you were hoping to rip a hard carve, you're not gonna get it with this. You're sacrificing that to get more of this shape that's, like, in my opinion, a little more powder freestyle focused. It can carve, but it's not as good as what was replacing it. Rider in mind, so who is this board for? It's for the resort ripper that's freestyle focused with their POW hunting. They're gonna spin around in the POW, they're gonna do a lot of POW butters. They need something that'll kind of lock in on a groomer when they're just going around the resort looking for their stashes. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. I am so happy to see this board happen. I've wanted this for a couple years now, and to see it actually happen, it's good. Rossignol really didn't have a powder freestyle board like this, and now they have it. The problem is they killed the sashimi. I think they could have left that board and had the slashimi, and they would complement each other. They're really designed for two different types of riders or for two different types of riding purposes. And so with getting rid of the sashimi to have the slashimi, it's cool, but you should have kept the sashimi in my opinion. It had better edge hold, it had more power out of the tail. The carbon array in the tail needs to be tweaked a little bit just to give it a little bit more power. If that happened, I think then this would make more sense for replacing that sashimi. Overall, not disappointed with this board. It's different ride. It was a little more freestyle focused than I thought it was gonna be. It rides smaller than you think just because of how much rocker you have in the nose and then that tip and tail shape, plus orca on the tail. Chef's kiss, I love it. I love that you guys did that in the graphic. It's amazing. I think if they tweak this for 2026, we could have the board that I ideally want and like what I was hoping for with this. So Rossignol, if you're paying attention, reach out to me. We can talk about one or two little quick tweaks to the core that would change this to where you want it to be. Comparable boards: the Jones Mind Expander, the Arbor Carter, the Bataleon Surfer. Binding recommendations: the Jones Meteorite, the Rome Katana, the Union Strata. This has been my review of the Rossignol Slashimi. If you liked it but you're still unsure about it and you want to check out one of the reviews for one of the comparable boards, I recommend you do that. We do have a video for them. I know we do.